What can be said about Cowboy Bebop that hasn't already been said before? Its status as an all-time classic is as undisputed as it is undisputable. That all said, I think I have a slightly different view on it than most. Much like Fooly Cooly, I never watched Cowboy Bebop when it was new. Instead, I watched it for the first time when I was about 20 and Cowboy Bebop was only slightly younger. Like Fooly Cooly, Cowboy Bebop also resonated with me deeply. On the surface, that seems kind of like an absurd statement. I have almost nothing in common with the crew of the Bebop. I'm almost always well-fed and rarely if ever looking for work. I have a stable living condition and a few close friends. I've never killed anyone, but even so, I can't help but feel like a kindred spirit. A lot of Cowboy Bebop deals with the past and the inability to move beyond it. I certainly have regrets, and I'm sure so does everyone else, so it's not surprising that Cowboy Bebop should resonate. But to me, it was the depth of the resonance that surprised me. I guess it's a lot of the little details that really do it for me. The overall atmosphere of wonderfully advanced technology that is nonetheless in a state of decay and disrepair, and indeed only remains working because of the layers and layers of duct tape holding it together, reminds me very much of the world I currently live in, despite about half a century between now and when Cowboy Bebop takes place. My line of work has me looking into aging infrastructure, and there are many more times where there seem to be Band-Aid fixes layered upon Band-Aid fixes than I care to think about. Now, of course, the atmosphere isn't the only thing that's great about Cowboy Bebop. The characters and how they interact with each other is also great. There are two episodes in particular that I think stand out well in terms of character interactions and overall atmosphere. The first episode is Episode 1, or Asteroid Blues. Obviously, Episode 1 might seem like a weird choice to talk about characters, considering only 2 of the main 5 are present, but I think my decision stands as it serves as an introduction to Jet and Spike, who are 2 of the more prominent characters. The 2 of them butt heads from time to time, but they ultimately have a quiet understanding. The meat of the character interaction comes with Spike and how he deals with his bounty. Between the friendly, trickster-esque way he interacts with Katarina and the playful way he taunts Asimov as they fight, we see a more lighthearted side of Spike that I feel gets muted as the series progresses and doesn't really tend to show up much beyond this episode. Of course, despite the playfulness, it's all business for Spike, and if he doesn't get the bounty, then all of it is kind of pointless in the long run. Second episode is Episode 15, or My Funny Valentine. Given the name, I think it's fairly clear that it centers on Faye Valentine. The crux of the episode is that it's revealed that Faye had undergone cryogenic freezing in the past, and from her perspective, she has woken up in the distant future. Almost immediately, she ran across a couple bad actors that cause her various problems, all of which are mostly unknown to her. At the end of the episode, she was played for a fool, she was deeply indebted to some nefarious people, and the debts have had the better part of a century to accrue interest to boot. While Faye's interactions with the other Bebop crew members aren't exactly standout in this episode, I think it's the events of the episode that give her aloof and money-grubbing habits new context that explain them, if not excuse them. Both of the episodes have a decent amount of interactions that display who the characters are, while also showing a bit about the world they live in. Of course, these 2 episodes are in no way comprehensive. In fact, the only way to truly enjoy Cowboy Bebop is to watch the entire thing. See you, Space Cowboy.